because there's this thing of computers in your schools, right?
Yes, computers are there.
Yeah, where you are trying to teach people students how to use computers. The first thing out of business of trying to use computers is programming them, and this is where this stuff comes in. Okay, one of the things we can do with strings is alignments. Where does Python print this string? Do we want Python to print the string on the left or on the right or in the center? That kind of stuff. We can also actually tell Python how much space it should reserve. How many spaces? Like 10 spaces. How many spaces it should reserve for a particular string which it has to print out. So basically, the first things we're going to do today is how do we align strings? Okay, how do we align them in the center, to the left, and to the right? So for us to get started, we create a string text, then we store that string test, then we store the string text in variable text. Okay, that's not the problem. Then we display text. So text is displayed here. This is where it's displayed. Okay, and we haven't done anything. Basically, that's what Python prefers to do. Okay, then the next thing we do is this is the index, the position of the variable in format, in the list of variables which put. If you still remember some stuff about what we did last week here. Okay, so this is the index of the variable. Since we only have one variable text, the index is 0. So we run that. The result is still kind of the same, except now because we're doing print, these quotation marks, quotation marks have been removed. Now, I do the following. Something similar to what we did with f, the float, where we were saying display this number to so many decimal places. Do you remember that? When we say .f, then we put a number. You remember that?
Yes.
Yes. We can do something. Yes. We can do something similar to that with a string. Except with a string, what we do is we tell Python create space, 10 spaces, okay, where to put letters. So create, it's like there's a mistake I used to make when I was in primary school. So when you're doing that close thing where you have to fill in the missing words, okay, so what I would do is I would look at how long the space is. So if the space was short, I'm like, okay, it must be a small word. If the space was long, it must be a long word. And that's how I'd go about doing that stuff, which was completely wrong. So basically, in this case, we're doing something similar, okay? We are telling Python, let's say, create space for 10. Create 10 spaces in which we are going to display this text. Are we clear?
Yes.
A space is where we have a letter like this. That is one space. Then that's the next space. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then here 8, 9, 10. So we are saying create this space. Basically, the 10 is the length of your placeholder. Your placeholder has got length 10, and this is where we want to put this text. Is it clear what I'm saying?
Yes.
What this 10 is? It's these spaces, these where we have typed these things, 10 of them. So we want a placeholder with length 10 in which we are going to store a string. So if we do that, this is what you get. If you look at this word test, test has got 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. We created a space. We told Python to create a space with, sorry, it has got 4 spaces, but we told Python to create a space with 10 spaces, a field with 10 spaces, or a placeholder with 10 spaces. So basically there are 6 more spaces this side, which we are not using. Is that clear?
Yes.
We have used the first 4 spaces. There are 6 more spaces which we have not used. Okay. The other thing you notice is Python tends to display your string on the left. It doesn't display your string here without being told, somewhere very far from the beginning of this line. Okay? It displays your string on the left if you don't say anything about where it is supposed to display your string. Is this clear?
Yes.
If you tell Python to say, you can tell Python to say, I want you to display my string on the right. So, and this is how you do that. You tell Python, display my string on the right, and let's see what this does. It will make more sense when you see what it does. There. You've seen what has happened? Where the string has been displayed?
Yes.
Yes. This is how you tell Python, look, I know you can display a string on the left, but I want it displayed on the right. And how do you do that? You use this arrow key here. So the first thing is, when you're dealing with a string, is you specify what value is supposed to be here. It's a string. Next, you specify how many spaces, 10 spaces. Then this arrow is telling you how that string is supposed to be displayed. Where on this line? Is it displayed on the left? Is it supposed to be displayed in the center? Or is it supposed to be displayed on the right? So if you want it displayed on the right, then this is what you use. Is that clear? If you want your string displayed on the left, your string to be left aligned, this is what you use. When you do that, that's what you get, which is the same as what you have been getting before. Like that. Okay? So by default, Python displays your string on the left, but you can tell it to display your string on the right. You can also tell Python to display your string in the center using this character. If you do that, this is where the string text is displayed. So you see, left alignment this side, center here, then right alignment that side. Is this clear? So basically what's happening here is, when it's right aligned, you have used, there are 6 spaces here. Before that, 6 spaces plus 4, that gives you 10. These spaces are empty. So they've been covered up by spaces. We don't see spaces, but they've been covered up by spaces. But you can be more specific what should be put there before or not, which is what we're going to get to next. Okay? Then this side, this is also 10 spaces, but we have used 4 for tests, which means this side, there are 3 spaces. That side, on the left, there should be 3 spaces. Sorry, this is left alignment. So we have used the first 4 spaces, then it means this side, there should be 6 spaces. You see, it doesn't go further than this. Can you see that? So these are 6 spaces this side. Then on this side, I have got 6 spaces that side. So this is, excuse me, this is right alignment. This is left alignment. Then if I come here, you see that there are 3 spaces that side. Then you can also see 3 spaces this side. So in this case, the text test has been put in the middle of the field. The whole space, we say 10 spaces. That's the 10 spaces. That's the whole thing there. That's the 10 spaces. The same thing here. That's the 10 spaces. But you can see there is all this space which has not been used. Then here. That's the 10 spaces. But you can see the test is this side. It's starting from this side. In front of it, there are all those spaces which we have not used. Are we clear?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
what we have seen here is how to create a placeholder of a specific length. You see, these ones where we don't specify. Python is just, when I highlight the thing, that's where it ends. It's just automatically just says, okay, fine, you're going to have 4. Nothing more, nothing less. There, you're going to have 4. Here, you're going to have 4. You're going to have more than 4. So there are empty spaces here, which are not being used for anything. Okay? So that's how you, first of all, that's how you create a placeholder for a string of a particular length. And that's how you align your texts. Whether you want your text to be right aligned, you use this. Right aligned. It comes after the aligning thing comes after the colon. Okay? Right aligned or left aligned or center aligned. Centered like that. So, can we do anything with these spaces which are left behind? These spaces, the extra space. Can we do anything with it? The answer is yes. You can fill up this space which has been left behind with something. Okay? So if you create a field of a certain length, like in this case we have created a field of 10 of length size 10, then we try to print a text, we try to print a string, then that string does not match the length of the field, then there is some space left. We can fill up that space with things. Okay? When you fill up the space with something, this is what we call padding. Are we clear?
Yes.
Yeah, in real life, padding is done by people. Maybe, sorry, Rachel, but I think there are some people who buy these things they put for hips or breasts or something like that. I don't know if you, Brian, you're aware of that. They sell those things in women's shops. Those things they sell so that they can, yeah.
In Kamwala, they are there.
Yes, those things are paddings. We call them. They are called paddings. I don't know what other names they use, but I'm not. So basically, that's the thing. So basically, you use a padding so that you can fill up spaces with something. Okay. So in the same thing, along the same vein, we can also do a similar thing with our placeholder. So in this case, we create a placeholder with 10 spaces. Then for a string, and the justification, the alignment is right. So we know what our string is. Our string has got 4 characters. So it's just going to fill up only 4 spaces. Then we don't want to fill up the other spaces. We don't want them to leave them like that. We want to fill them up with stars. So when you do that, this is what we get. These stars. These are the stars. So basically this clearly shows you that our placeholder has got 10 spaces, and out of these 10 spaces we have used 4 for text for the tests. Then the remaining ones, the remaining spaces, we have filled them up with stars. Is what you have done here clear?
Yes.
Very clear.
You can also do the same thing. So the padding character, as you can see, the padding character comes before the alignment character. You put the padding before the alignment. I don't know if it can work the other way. I'm not sure. Let me try. If it doesn't work, they need to tell us. No. So the padding comes first, then after the padding, then the alignment. So the padding character, then the alignment. Like that. So same here. We want to write our tests using left. So we want it on the left, but the rest of the spaces we want to fill them with stars. Here. So we left, then the rest of the spaces we fill them with stars like this. 6 of them. You can do this. You can also do this with the center alignment. Then you put a padding character like that. So in this case, you're going to have 3 stars this side. Then you're going to have 3 stars this side, so that we can fill up all the spaces like that. This is padding. Okay. You are not restricted to using only the star. This star. You can also use a plus character for padding, as long as the padding character comes before this guy for alignment. You can use a plus, or you can use this add character. You put an add character there, then it does that, or you can put a dollar character there, then it does that. It's up to you what you want. Are we clear on what padding is and how we can do padding? The padding character, you have to put it before alignment. So before you do padding, you have to align. Once the alignment has been done, the rest of the spaces, you have to fill them with something. That's when you do padding. Okay. Next is, how do you cut if you've got a long text, right? How do you cut it? Maybe you don't want to display all of it. You just want to display some of it. How do you do that? So that's where truncation comes. To truncate is to cut. Okay? To truncate is to cut. So it is also possible to truncate this is supposed to be very long values of a specific number of characters based to a specific number of characters. The number behind the dot format specifies the precision of the output. For strings, this means that the output is truncated to the specific length. So this is very similar to what we did when we were displaying values of pi to a certain precision, say to the certain number of decimal points. You remember that? When we told, say, display pi to 3 decimal places, to 4 decimal places, like that. When we did something like that, do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay, so you can do something. We can do exactly that, but for a string. So here, this is our string, very long string. One of Python's strengths is its diverse and supportive community, very, very long string. Then that's what it is. And what is the length of this string? 66. So it has got 66 characters. If you want to display only the first 13 characters, okay? If you want to display only the first 13 characters, so what you do, after the equal sign, after the colon, in the placeholder, there's a dot, you put a dot. Then what you're doing here is similar to saying, show me only the first 13 characters. This is the same as what we did with the F. Say, show me this number only to this number of decimal places. Now what you're doing when you're using a string, you are telling Python, show me the string which has got this index only to this many characters. Show me the first 13 characters basically. So if you do that, that's what you get. You say one of Python, that's the first 13 characters of text. So you'd have cut your thing to that. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Then next, how do you combine cutting strings and padding? How do you combine cutting strings and padding? So here, the first thing we do is we carry out a slice from text. Text is this whole thing here. This is text. Okay, this is text. So we do a slice from 7 to 13. So we slice starting with the starting index is 7, then all the way up to but less than 13. So basically you're going up to 12. So when we slice that, then whatever it is we slice, we're going to store it in language. So we do our slice. Then after that, we print out language without saying anything. We just say, okay, this placeholder, you should expect something. You should expect a string from the first guy. And we get Python. So basically what you have sliced from this text here, this whole thing, what we have sliced is this bit, Python, and that's what we stored in language there. Okay, that's fine. Then the next thing we do, we apply what you have done. So we create a placeholder, this a placeholder, where we're going to display a string S. Then this placeholder is going to have 10 spaces, right? Are we clear?
Yes.
Yeah, the placeholder is going to have 10 spaces. Then whatever it is we're going to display is going to be put in the center. Then on the sides, we're going to pad with stars on the sides. So this is what we get. Python like this. 10 spaces. Those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 spaces. Put in the center. So this side, we've got that. Then this side, we've got that. Okay. Then the next thing we do is we can specify. Once you specify how many spaces you have, like this, right? So your string should have 10 spaces. You can tell Python to show you only, you put a dot here, then 4. You can tell Python to show you only the first 4 characters of this thing here. So the first 4 are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to get 2 stars and a pi, like that. What did you get? Oh, sorry, you get only the first, I made a mistake. So you get only the first 4 letters of your string. Then whatever is left, then is going to be padded over. So basically you would have cut your Python to this and that. So you get the first 4 letters of Python. This is what you have here. Then the remainder of whatever is left, you're going to pad it like this.
So it will only show you the characters, the spaces in the characters, and not the areas that has been padded, that have been padded.
No, it will show you the first of all, the 10. This 10 is the number of spaces. Okay? Is that clear? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? The 10 is the number of spaces. Then you have a dot. Then you've got the 4. This 4 is how many characters from language do you want to show. It's the same thing we did here. Where is that? Here, when you said .13s, you're telling Python, show me only the first 13 characters of text. 13 characters of text, first 13 characters of text. So here we are also saying, show me only the first 4 letters or characters of language. And the first 4 letters of language are these, since we're talking about Python. So that's what it's going to show you. So the remainder of the spaces are going to be filled up by stars.
Clear.
Okay. Rachel?
I'm okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that's good. So that is for basically that's about padding strings. You can also paddy numbers. You can paddy numbers. For example, do I have this age? No, just a minute. I need to run something. Yeah, I need to run this. Okay. All right. So here, I want to do the following. I want to print out age. So, okay. So I print out age without saying anything about how I want to print it. All I'm saying is, in this space here, I'm expecting a number. Okay? So this is what I'm doing. So that is a number with 2 spaces, 3 and 4. I can actually tell Python, say, I want to print out a number, but creates 4 spaces for this number. This is what I'm doing here, this 4. It's like the 10 with S here, the 10S. I'm telling Python, create 4 spaces for this number I want to print out. So when I do that, this is what I get. Where are the spaces? If you look at this, there are the spaces. So you can see something here. Python is doing something different. When we were printing strings, the number, like here, when we didn't say anything, the number 34 is put this side. But now that you have said, create 4 spaces where to put number, the 34 is put on the right. So there is space here. There are 2 spaces left here. Here. There are 2 spaces left there. Okay? You can actually be more specific. You can actually become more specific and say, I want to create space for 4 numbers, then it should be right aligned, and it should be a number. You can do that. The result is the same. This and this, they are identical. The results are the same. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. So here I didn't say justify this, because Python does that automatically for a number, the same way it does it automatically for a string. If you don't say anything for the string, your string will be justified to the left. So in this case, if you say I want 4 spaces, then you don't say anything about where this string is supposed to be put in these 4 spaces, Python puts your number to the right. Okay, you can do that. Or you can say, okay, I want the number to the right, then the remaining space, fill it up with stars. Then you're going to get this. So you're going to get 2 stars. That's a space which is remaining. Then 3, 4. Like that. Or you can say, I want a number to be put on the left. This is what we use for left, just alignment. So in this case, your 34 is going to be displayed this side. And at the back here, there will be space. 2 spaces which will be left. If you want to fill up those spaces with a star, like in this case, then this is what you're going to get. So you can actually, the same things we've been doing with padding and stuff like that. You can paddy numbers, you can also paddy strings. Are we clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we also need another value. I need to run another thing on top here. We'll be done very soon. I want to finish today within 1 hour. Where is what I'm looking for? Here. I'm looking for this. Okay. So that's padding there. Alignment. So we've looked at how you create two things. We've looked at. We have looked at actually three things. We have looked at how you create a field of a specific length. So you say how many spaces you want to use. Then next, after that, we saw how to do alignment, right alignment, left alignment, and center alignment. Then we also how to padding strings using padding characters. You can choose the padding characters. Then you've also seen how to padding a number. Then this pi. If you remember pi, it had so many decimal things. If you don't say anything from what you have seen, if you just say create a placeholder, then in this placeholder I want you to display a float without saying anything. From what we saw, Python is going to display that number to 6 decimal places, if you remember this. However, you can specify using this after the colon, after the dot, 2. You can specify the number of decimal places to which a number should be displayed. So in this case, we want to display our pi only to 2 decimal places. So we do that. There, we get 3.4. The next thing we want to do is we can also, when you're dealing with a float, you can specify how many spaces you want to use. That's where the 6 comes in. So you have got 6 for the number of spaces, then you have a dot followed by 2, which is for the number of decimal, 6 for the number of spaces, then 2 for the number of decimal places. So this is going to give us, right now, Python is doing things automatically, so it chooses how many spaces you're going to use, but now you have said you want to use 6 spaces. So when you do that, this is what you get. And where this is missing, the other spaces not used, here. So those are the other spaces that are not used. Right now, you have used 4 spaces. This one, 1 space, 2, then the dot, 3, then 4. So we have used, out of the 6, we have used 4 spaces, then we are left with 2 spaces which are not using. This side, these 2, those are the ones we're not using. And we didn't say anything about the alignment because numbers are automatically aligned right. Is that clear? Strings are aligned automatically. If you don't say anything about alignment, Python aligns strings to the left. But for numbers, they're aligned to the right. Are we clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Then you decide to say, okay, fine, you want to be more specific now. You want to say, okay, fine, I want right alignment. Then any spaces which are not used up, you want to fill them up with stars. So in this case, this is what you get. That 0 star 3.14. But usually that's not how we fill up numbers. Sometimes you can fill up, you can fill up the remaining space with stars like that. But you can actually do more than that. For example, in this case, you can fill up, instead of doing star, you can actually fill up with 0 zeros. This, you can do this. This 0 here. This 0 becomes a padding character. Have you seen that?
Yes.
It's a padding character. But we did not specify padding character. Then here you're more specific. You're saying, okay, 2 decimal places, 6 spaces, alignment, right, padding character 0. There, to the right. Or you can say 2 decimal places, 6 spaces, alignment to the left, padding characters 0. So the zeros will be this side now. So the zeros we put this side because these zeros are not numbers. Okay, these zeros are padding characters just like these stars. Is that clear? Then here, if you want to do center alignment of your number, so 2 decimal places, 6 spaces, center padding character 0. So you're going to put 1 0 in front, another 0 at the back. There, like that. If that's what you want to do. Are we clear? Formats is a very, very versatile method. You can use it in so many ways, depending on how you want to display your information. You can also put a plus sign. I think you've seen this before, where you put a plus as a padding character, especially if you don't say anything. If you don't say anything, for example, we create a variable temperature which we give 75. Then we do this. Here, we want to say plus 75 degree solutions. This is our string. Then we've given that format. So we say, okay, we are expecting a number, an integer, then 4 spaces. After 4 spaces, next, this, if you don't say anything, right, then after that, a plus. So you end up with this, plus 75. This plus 75, it's a plus sign, but it is also a, what is? Kind of like it's a padding thing. Why did I do this here? No, it didn't work. Oh. So, okay, fine. So this gives you 2 plus signs here. So that's not what we want. We just want 1 sign if we're going to do anything. Okay, so you can see the difference. If you put an alignment thing like this, or right alignment, you get 2 plus signs. If you don't put anything, you just get 1 sign. That's the difference really there. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay. Then you can also use a space character to indicate that negative numbers should be prefixed with a minus symbol and the leading space should be used for positive numbers. What's happening here? Negative 23. Okay. Then 23. Okay. So basically, yeah. So if you put a space here, 1 space between the colon and the D, put a space. That's where the negative is going to be. You put a negative status like that and stuff like that. Okay, these placeholders, we have looked at them like that. We have said they have indices where you access a particular thing, but you can actually give these placeholders a name. Is that clear? You can actually give these placeholders a name, and for you to use named placeholders, you have to use dictionaries. You have to go back to dictionaries. You have to use dictionaries for you to use a named placeholder. And how do we do that? Used to remember some stuff about dictionaries, keys and values, and curly brackets.
Yes.
So I create a dictionary called name, and the first key is Levy, then the last key has got volume and also. That's a dictionary. Then I print it. So this is what I have. faced, then that, then that. Okay, so what do I do here? Instead, I can do this. We know this. I create a placeholder here, right? Doesn't have any name. Okay, then another placeholder here, no name. So I just want to create a space here. I want to create a space here. Then down here, I want to access the values of this dictionary. I want to access the first name, because if I say, sorry, I want to add something. If I do the following, I say name faced. Sorry, name faced. What does this give me? If I say name faced, what do I get from this dictionary? If there's something you remember dictionaries, if I say the name of the dictionary, then square brackets, then inside the square brackets, I put the key first. What do I get?
Levy.
Yeah, I get levy. Then similarly, if I do the same thing with name, then last, this one gives me Manawasa. So basically, this thing which I have here, this name faced, gives me access to levy, and levy is what I put here in the first placeholder. The next name last gives me access to Manawasa, and that's what I put in the second placeholder. So at the end of the day, I have the following: levy Manawasa. Okay, but I can actually be more specific. I can actually put names, the names of the keys. Okay, I can say the placeholder, then I put in the name of the dictionary key. I say first, then in this one I say last. Then after that, in format, I just give the name of the dictionary preceded by and then I put 2 stars in front. When I do this, this is automatically going to fill up these placeholders with the values which correspond to these keys, as you're going to see. Levi Manawasa. Is that clear?
Yes.
If I change the name of the placeholder to last and first, so I should get Manawasa Levi. So these placeholders have got names. The first one is first, then last. But for you to access the values like this, you need to use a dictionary, and that dictionary, in front of it, you should have these 2 multiplication signs. Okay, I hope you still remember this, guys. Title.
Yes.
And yeah, so this one is going to be what? What's going to happen? Name first, then title. What's going to happen to Levi? Is it going to come out like this?
Pardon?
What's going to happen? What are we going to see? Let me run it. So title, what title does is it makes the first letter of a word the capital letter. That's what title does. It makes the first letter of a word the capital letter. Manawasa like that. That's what you get. You can even do more. You can say, okay, yeah, this placeholder's got the name first, this placeholder's got the name last, but you can even be more specific. You can do this. First, what value? This should be stored in first. Then this whole thing here should be stored in last. So you can even be more specific this way. Then you get Levi Manawasa like that. Are we clear?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically, yeah. So the first bit of data structures and everything, lists, tuples, lists, we need lists, We need tuples, sets, what else? Yeah, lists, tuples, sets, now strings. These are the foundations of Python. Now that we understand this, then we can make good progress. Once you understand how this whole thing, these first things work, then the rest of the stuff should be very, very easy. Are we clear?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to stop here. Unless you've got any question. Exactly at 21 hours.
No questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, so yeah, I was making a recording, so I'm going to stop the recording. Then this one I want to upload it now. It took me time to upload the others. I think you saw them over the weekend.
Yes, I think I saw.
Yeah, so this one I want to upload it now. So it's going to be chapter 6C. Yeah, so alright, so I've come to the end here. So tomorrow when we meet, hopefully there's no load shedding. Tomorrow we'll start looking at something called built-in functions. We have looked at some of them. You have looked at print, you have looked at type, length, delete, what else? String, float, int. If you still remember some of this, but they are not; those are not the only ones. Okay, Python has got about 68 functions. So try to look at a few more, so that I think tomorrow try to look at 30. Then the others, so that we can try to actually start getting things done. If we look at functions and whatever follows a bit, then eventually, probably by the end of the month, it should be possible for you to start doing a lab. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So if there's no load shedding tomorrow, if things go well, yeah. So that's what you're going to have. Okay, good night.
Good night.
Cheers.
Good night.
Thank you very much.